Hello and welcome to the Wellness Journey podcast with me, Ree Bowder.
And me, Suzanne Williams. And today we're joined by a very special guest, Tiff from Soul and Soma in Cowbridge.
Yeah, welcome Tiff.
Thank you. Thank you for having me both.
Yes, thank you for joining us on this special episode, and thank you for allowing us to sort of record it in your fabulous studio. We are here in Cowbridge in the most amazing studio. It's only been open how long?
So just over 3.5 weeks.
Wow.
3.5 weeks. So it's brand new to Cowbridge.
Beautiful.
And there's fabulous things going on like Pilates and yoga and sound bath. And you yourself are a physiotherapist, I believe.
Yes.
So do you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Yes, absolutely. No, that's great. So yes, I'm Tiffany. I'm a chartered physiotherapist. I work full time in football. I work at Cardiff City. I have worked in private practice in and out for a few years, and I'm also a qualified Pilates instructor. Alongside Pilates, I also have a qualification in strength and conditioning, but over the last 12 to 18 months, I've really enjoyed exploring my Pilates journey. As I initially enjoyed it as an attendee, being on the receiving end of Pilates and enjoying the benefits myself. I'm now enjoying sharing that with other people. So,
Amazing.
So we're looking at, Tiffany has come on today as well because this season is all about new beginnings, and this is a huge new beginning. What does it mean for you? What does this new beginning mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So, 100%, start of a new year, what better time to, start a new journey or a new adventure, so to speak. So
I'm sure it didn't start here. How long ago did it start? Because obviously that idea, where did that idea come from, and how long has it been in the making?
Yeah, so it's been the idea of this kind of business, this sort of wellness hub has been at the back of my mind for some years, but particularly over the last 12 months, as I started to spend a lot more time in Cowbridge and getting to know the community, I, noticed that there was something missing. I would often be in the area on weekends or in the evenings looking for a class, a yoga class or a Pilates class, and unable to find it. Also, as a physiotherapist specialising in sports rehab and MSK, I noticed that was something lacking in the area. So around kind of midsummer last year, I started to draft up the plan, and after a couple of months of searching for the right place, as well as writing business plans, writing cash flow forecasts, all of the elements that perhaps don't usually come part and parcel with being a physiotherapist. So we started building this place in the summer. We got the keys December time, and we opened the doors January.
Wow.
So needless to
Big
say,
new beginning.
absolutely. Needless to say, our Christmas was hectic.
Yeah.
And when you say we, who do you mean?
So my partner Pete has been a huge support here. So when I came to him with this business plan, obviously I still have a full-time job, so I knew that I needed support for this to be able to happen. Absolutely. Although our schedule relies heavily on a team of freelance instructors and practitioners who are amazing, I knew I needed some support behind the scenes with running things, administration, management.
Have you ever been in business before, either of you? Is this brand new to you?
So this is brand new. This is our first company of this nature. I've been self-employed previously on kind of a smaller scale, freelance instructor, renting a space at a gym or like a clinic room, and in that kind of element. And he also works for a small independent business, so is familiar with a lot of the practical aspects, but this is our first business venture together. Yeah.
Was with any new beginning, there's good things, bad things, highs, lows.
Absolutely.
What's sort of the best? What's been the most exciting or the best bit about this journey? so far?
So for me, the most the most rewarding part has been taking a vision from paper into reality and walking in here, in the morning or in the evening and watching people enjoying what we've created.
That's amazing.
This was, not really just a business venture. It was a passion project, and we were creating something that we would love to be on the receiving end of.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the passion, did that get you through times?
Yeah,
when it was harder?
absolutely. I think it really helps when you're creating something that you would happily or regularly be the consumer of.
Yes.
It makes it a lot easier. You not only from creating the product that people want, but also for just pushing yourselves along on the tougher days when and they do happen. We're both working full-time jobs, so we are generally out of the house somewhere between 6 and 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. every day now, so you do need something else to push you along.
So what gets you through those challenging times when you're thinking, there's just not enough hours in a day, how am I going to get through this? Where do you get that sort of strength from? How do you carry on?
Yeah, so I think first of all, I think you have to start small. So these sorts of habits started years ago, and we started smaller and built. I think that if we had gone straight from nothing to this, we wouldn't have been able to build up that grit, build up the resilience, kind of build up the perseverance, so to speak, or the ability to keep going when things get tough. So I think that's quite an important bit that people don't always talk about. You often see on podcasts or what have you, business owners perhaps referring to work hard, dig deep, but you need to start somewhere, and it's not always just throwing in the towel, throwing in your job and to somewhere.
And sometimes, like you mentioned, small steps, and me and Rhea have talked about this before. It's good to when you start small, you create a pattern, don't you?
Yeah,
and then you can make that pattern bigger and then bigger and then bigger. You're not jumping to huge, which sometimes is unattainable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's too hard for us we get overwhelmed. So I like the way you said that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really underrated. I think changes don't happen overnight, whether that's external changes or internal changes. They take time. And this is certainly not something that I would have been able to do a few years ago. I had to start smaller, whether that be a small business in a little room in a gym, where the only person who really gets affected by the decisions was me, and then built up. Whereas now, one of the things that keeps us going is the fact that it's not just us now. We've got a team working with us who also rely on Soul and Soma to be
like support,
growing, and
supporting
a good support network. Yeah, absolutely.
I also mentioned, I think in last week's episode, about the resilience that I created through sport and through running, and how that transferred over into other areas of my life. Do you think the same? Because I know that you have been a runner and have been obviously doing some, is it Ironman? Ironman events, which are hugely challenging. So do you think that sort of carried over into your professional career as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I often say to people that for me, starting running was probably one of the most transformational decisions I've ever made, and not just from a physical point of view, but before I took the step to, go on my first run, join a running club, I was fairly inactive at the time. I was quite young, a little bit lost, didn't know what I wanted to do with my career, didn't have a profession at the time, and even though it was quite a smul step, that then became, it was a step. And at the time I was, working quite a ordinary job. I think I was at the time I was about 19, and I was working in Amazon packing for a short period of time. Didn't know what I wanted to do, and it just went from there. I started running. I met people who were from different backgrounds, quite interesting. I started running more, started gaining confidence, got to know myself a little bit more, and through that, I then obviously developed some niggles. I then started to become more interested in that. That led me on to do a sports massage qualification, led on to the next, then went to university. So
little steps.
Yeah,
Great big
absolutely.
steps.
The running and eventually, I dabbled in a bit of triathlon as well. They absolutely not only influenced the direction of my life essentially and my career, but you're right, they did help forming those habits, the resilience, the grit that I perhaps lacked in my younger years.
Carrying on going with things are hard.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah, so-
absolutely. No, you're right. You mentioned, so I did the half Ironman, and I think experiences like that, or my first and my only marathon, Snowdon Marathon, those kinds of experiences where you're broken, but you realise you've still got
You've still got to do
to get to the
it.
finish line. You've got like a mile or two of like basically a vertical climb to go, and
So
it
this
shape you.
then is using that pattern, isn't it?
Yeah, I
On
think
days
so.
when the builder doesn't turn up or the painter isn't, or you're shattered, you're like, well, I've got that extra.
Yeah.
I've got that extra. I know I do.
Yeah, I think it does help. For me as well, I think that my job working in sport has changed me as well. As this conversation I've had, and like even I talk about the bigger picture of the last few years, but even in the last 12 months, now working in football, it's quite a male-dominated industry, very quite fast-paced, quite a bit pressure, standards are high. That has changed the way I communicate with people. I'm now better at having difficult conversations.
That's good.
Saying no, I never used
Say
to be
no,
able to do
it's
that.
fine.
Initiating difficult conversations, I used to avoid them and shy away from it. So it has helped me. I think the difficulty or the challenge I've had now with this business is trying to find the happy medium. I've gone from someone who's been quite, perhaps softer in the past and a little bit of a pushover, low in confidence, to now being a bit more of a direct communicator. And I was finding the happy medium. I'm now working with a team of women who are generally, they're amazing, they're a wonderful group. The beautiful thing about working with women in this environment is they're all very in touch with, themselves. But just compared to what I'm used to working with now, a little bit more sensitive. So I've had to adapt my delivery of information.
Trust.
Yeah, rather than just, kind of speaking a bit too direct or a bit too like businessy, which I've had to mould myself to be working in football. I'm now having to kind of revert back a little bit and appreciate, okay, I actually need to sugarcoat this a little bit more. Not
I need to
sugarcoat,
be softer, or
softer or fluff things up a little bit more,
I mean, new beginning is all about that, isn't it? We have to change all the time, don't we? We have to change with our new beginning, adapt, resilience, adaptation. All these things are so important. As we sort of, flow, what's the thing you're going to take from this? If you looked back at this time now in a year, maybe or more, what would you look back and say, I'm taking that from this? That's my big lesson now at the moment. Have you got one that you feel is your...
Yeah, I think for me at this point, kind of, I guess one of my biggest learning curves has been, learning where to set my boundaries with myself. I know when we arrived, actually, I was kind of nitpicking this place apart, and I do that a lot. This has been like it's been my baby, and we've designed like little bits, all the little details. So I've had to learn how to be more comfortable with people helping, and maybe perhaps not quite doing something the way I would do it.
Yeah.
Small stuff.
Absolutely.
Not micromanaging.
No, not micromanaging, and just delegation. So it's especially been hard, obviously working with my partner is beautiful. It's a blessing. He's my best friend. And he's a dream to work with. We generally not trying to be unrealistic or set unrealistic goals, but we generally don't tend to disagree on a lot. but this has obviously been quite a, you know, an intense experience. Sometimes stress levels are increasing. Just to say
very
the
brave.
least.
Very brave working with your
Definitely,
partner.
I absolutely. But that's been for me, you know, learning when to, you know, just let something go. Do I need to sweat that, like, you know, minor detail?
Important.
Exactly, and just learning when to hand something over. Obviously, I've got a full-time job managing this place, as well as being quite hands-on, being a physio and teaching Pilates. There's only so much of the behind-the-scenes stuff that I can physically do, so it's just learning when to hand that over.
And do you pause and reflect and give yourself a pat on the back?
Yeah, I think I've become better at doing that over the last year or so. I never used to. I think I'm quite naturally quite self-critical, which can quite often, I'm not condoning being self-critical, but it has often served me quite well because it's made me better myself, improve things, and always kind of
expanding
and growing from the
next.
just kind of always keeping my eye, I guess, on the next goal. But the danger with that is that you never appreciate what you have, achieved already. So it has been important just taking that time, sometimes just pulling out a mat when I'm here on my own and just taking that moment to just sit here and look around and think and
just be.
I
think when you're so busy, you're working the hours you're working, it's important just to take little moments throughout the day, just to be and not be thinking, not be doing.
Absolutely. A prime example of that was this morning. I woke up and we were sat there having coffee, then I suddenly got up, I was like, I should be doing this, should be doing that. I was like, I was asleep last night. He was like, yeah, you needed it. I know. You needed it. I was like, oh gosh, yeah, no, I do. And as a physio, I'm the first to be advising patients on holistic health. It's not just about the musculoskeletal factors. We're also looking at the wider factors. I think that does slack when it comes to myself quite often.
I think making sure you're taking on board your own advice and the advice that you give to others, making sure that you're stopping and pausing and that pat on the back, every day, because you're doing incredible things here, and what you're offering is an amazing service, amazing wellness service, and we all need to take time to take care of our bodies, our minds, our spirits, and this is a beautiful place to do that. So Suzanne, shall we, can you think of maybe an intention to go through this week now based on the conversations we've had today?
I think what we've just been talking about now is really important, isn't it? Maybe my intention is to reflect on what I'm doing, what I'm doing well, what's going well, maybe link it to a bit of gratitude, because by pausing we can be present, can't we? We can be present and say, this is awesome. In this moment, whatever else is happening, this is awesome. Reflecting on amazing stuff, Tiff. We're looking forward to seeing what's coming. There's so much coming up. And we'll put all of Tiff's links in the show notes as well, so that you can contact and connect and maybe come along to some classes.
Yes, absolutely. Awesome. Well, I came to a yin class and a sand bath meditation. It was absolutely blissful. So it was a perfect Sunday evening, that was. So
it's amazing.
So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you both, and thank you for supporting us. We appreciate it.
And if you enjoyed listening or watching, please subscribe, tell your friends, and tag so we can ripple out some love into the world.
Yes. And send in love, and we will see you next time.
And remember, you are awesome always. Thank you.